I'd found out my wife was planning to leave me the same week I got promoted. It wasn't some cinematic moment where I stumbled upon lipstick on a collar or a suspicious voicemail. Number. It was far colder, far more methodical than that. It was a spreadsheet, one tucked neatly in a hidden folder on our shared laptop titled Finances 2024. Private. I wasn't even snooping. I was trying to print a document before a morning meeting, and the printer glitched. In my rush, I opened the wrong folder. Inside the spreadsheet were rows of calculations, monthly budgets, projected expenses, separate accounts I didn't recognize. Then came the note. Once I wire the first $10,000, it's real. We're really doing this. I stared at the sentence for almost 2 full minutes before my brain allowed me to react. The timestamp said it was added 3 days ago. 3 days ago, I was giving a toast in our living room to celebrate my new position as Director of Strategic Growth. Emily clinked glasses with me that night. She kissed me. She told me she was proud of me. 3 days ago, she already knew. My hands were shaking so violently I couldn't move the cursor. My stomach turned cold, like something ruptured inside me, and I was bleeding slowly into my own gut. I scrolled back up the sheet, half expecting it to vanish like some hallucination. But the numbers stayed. So did the name, Julian W. Primary account holder, Julian. I didn't know a Julian. The rest of the note read like a post-it from a corporate transaction. Initial transfer covers 3 months of support. Once Emily's move is confirmed, full relocation package kicks in. Support, relocation package. What the fuck was this? My chest clenched like I'd been sucker punched. This wasn't an affair. It was a business exit. She wasn't leaving me because she fell in love. She was being offered terms, and she was accepting them. I closed the laptop. I stood there in the kitchen while the morning light poured in through the window and painted golden rectangles on the floor. The kind of light you'd normally stop and admire. I didn't move. I couldn't. Somewhere upstairs, the shower turned on. She was getting ready for her day. So was I. But I wasn't going to work. Not today. I met Emily Kerrigan on a Tuesday in a backroom college debate about ethics in digital advertising. I was 21, sarcastic, underfed, and a little too quick with my counterpoints. She was a journalism major with a red pen tucked behind her ear and a habit of tilting her head when she listened, like she was filtering your words through layers of her own thoughts. She didn't speak much during that session, but when it ended, she walked right up to me and said, "You're good." Arrogant, but good. I was hooked. We started dating that semester, nothing fancy. Late-night ramen runs, walking aimlessly around campus, sitting on staircases talking about dreams like they were real and close enough to touch. Emily wanted to write books, maybe start her own publication. I wanted to build something, anything, a business, a legacy. I didn't have the shape of it yet, but I had the fuel. When I graduated, I couldn't find a stable job. The economy was in that weird post-crisis crawl. I temped in offices during the day and delivered pizzas at night. Emily worked as a barista and freelanced on the side, writing blurbs for local papers. We lived in a 1-bedroom that smelled like mildew in the summer. The AC rattled like an old train, but we laughed a lot. We fought sometimes, about money mostly, but we always circled back to each other. She stuck by me. When I bombed an interview I'd prepared for weeks, she came home with 2 cans of cheap beer and a cake with a sad face drawn in frosting. "You're allowed to fail," she said, sitting cross-legged on the kitchen floor. "Just don't quit." Those words lit something in me. By 29, I landed my first decent job in a small marketing firm. By 31, I was running campaigns for regional accounts. Emily had given up journalism by then. She said it felt like chasing smoke. She started working in an art gallery downtown. It didn't pay much, but she liked the pace. She liked how the silence in the room felt curated, like part of the display. We got married the spring I turned 32. A small wedding in her aunt's backyard. No big production, just 40 chairs and a very uneven dance floor. I still remember her dress. Not the details, I'm not that poetic, but the way it moved in the wind, like it didn't quite want to touch the ground. We bought a townhouse 2 years later, 3 bedrooms. She painted the guest room lavender, even though we rarely had guests. Said the color made her calm. I built a small office in the corner of the garage and started working late hours, chasing clients, learning finance, growth strategy, all the ways companies scale beyond their owners. I told myself I was building for us, for our future. But somewhere in that stretch of calm, something shifted. We stopped dreaming out loud. She stopped asking about my day. I'd come home late and find her watching a cooking show she wasn't even paying attention to. She always said she was tired. Always had a glass of wine half finished. And when I touched her shoulder, she flinched like she hadn't heard me come in. At first, I thought it was just stress. Her gallery was losing clients. Foot traffic was down, and a younger manager had just been hired. I asked if she wanted to switch jobs, maybe try something new, maybe go back to writing. She shrugged. I don't even know what I'd say anymore. She started dressing differently. Not in a dramatic way, just more curated. Her hair was always set, her makeup precise even on Sundays when we had nowhere to go. Her phone started going everywhere with her, even to the bathroom. I used to tease her about her boomer tech habits, but now she locked her screen like a teenager. Then came the first real flag. We were watching a movie, something light, something dumb, and her phone buzzed. She picked it up, smiled faintly, and tilted the screen away. I caught a glimpse. Just a name. Julian W. She noticed I noticed. Just someone from the gallery, she said. New artist. Her voice didn't shake. That's how I knew she was lying. I didn't press. I told myself it was nothing. That maybe I was paranoid. That marriage changes, matures, whatever. Sex became rare, then non-existent. When I reached for her at night, she turned. I'm just tired, babe. I said, okay. That was my refrain those last 8 months. She was late to dinner? Okay. Didn't come to my awards gala? Okay. Spent the weekend with a friend from art school I never met? Okay. I stopped fighting because I was afraid of what I'd find if I pushed. Because deep down, I knew. Not the full picture, not yet. But the frame had already warped, and maybe I thought if I didn't look directly at it, it couldn't hurt me. It started with a scent. One evening in March, Emily walked past me in the hallway, and I caught a whiff of something new. Something floral, sharp, expensive. Not the usual lavender or soft vanilla she favored for years. This was bolder, different. What perfume is that? I asked casually. She paused. Oh, just something Mia had at work. I sprayed it for fun. Too strong? No, it's nice, I said and smiled. She didn't smile back. That night, she slept facing the window. The next morning, the perfume was gone. The second crack was subtler. We were having dinner on the couch, Chinese takeout, a show we both pretended to enjoy. When her phone lit up, she reached for it, fast. I didn't say anything. Just took a sip of my drink and glanced sideways. She held the screen close to her body, typed a quick reply, and flipped the phone face down. I caught 3 letters, J.W., Julian West. I didn't know it then, but I would. In early April, she told me she had to attend an art expo in Charleston. Just 2 days, she said. We're meeting a few collectors. Julian's organizing it. You know, the new guy I told you about. She had never told me about him. I nodded anyway. You want me to come? I offered. She blinked. It's more industry networking than couples getaway. Right, of course. She left Friday morning. She didn't come back Sunday night. Her text came at 11:17 p.m. Hey, we got delayed. Julian booked a brunch meeting tomorrow. I'll fly in after. Don't wait up, okay? I stared at the screen for 5 full minutes. No explanation, no apology, just brunch. The next day, she came home with a tan and a silk scarf she didn't own before. I asked nothing, said nothing, because part of me still needed to believe that if I pushed her, she'd break, and I didn't know if I wanted to see what was inside. That week, I made a call. A college friend of mine, Nate, had transitioned into private investigations after his short stint in corporate compliance. He specialized in domestic insight, as he called it. I trusted him. I gave him Emily's schedule, her car make, her gallery's address. He didn't ask if I was sure. He just said, "Give me 2 weeks." Day 4, Emily leaves home at 9 a.m., says she's going to the gallery. Surveillance shows her arriving at Wisteria Hotel, staying inside for 2.5 hours, and leaving with Julian West. No gallery appearance. Day 6. Emily visits a luxury apartment complex in Midtown. Cameras catch her exiting with a red folder in hand. Julian is behind her. She's smiling. Day 9. She withdraws $2,400 from our joint Chase account. That same day, Julian's business Instagram shows a new signed lease on a downtown studio. The timing is perfect. Too perfect. Day 11. They attend a dinner together, not listed on her calendar. Nate provides a zoomed-in photo. Emily in black, low, neckline, eyes fixed on Julian's face like he's telling her something that matters. Day 13. She spends the night at the Hyatt. She doesn't come home. She doesn't text me. That night, I sit in my car outside our own house, parked down the block. I watch the lights stay off. I feel cold even though the heater's on. When Nate sends the full dossier, I can't read it at first. I just stare at the man's name. Julian West, curator, 38th, divorced, no kids. Comes from a family trust. Owns 2 galleries, part owner of a third in Paris. Known for poaching talent and patrons. Known for being persuasive and apparently generous. I dig through our bank records that weekend. Every transaction Emily made was small, intentional. $1,800 here, $2,200 there. Occasionally cash advances, all from our joint account. Over 6 months, it added up to $29,600. I cross-check against when she claimed to be visiting Mia, or helping her sister, or doing a weekend retreat. The math fits too well. I want to scream. Instead, I copy everything, statements, photos, emails, notes, and drop them into a USB folder, labeled last year. I try for 3 more days to act normal. I make her coffee in the morning. I let her play music while she cooks. I pretend to sleep when she sneaks into the bathroom at 1:30 a.m. to check her phone. On the 4th night, she lies down beside me and whispers, "Thank you for being patient with me. I know I've been off lately." I look at her. I really look. There's no remorse. There's no shame. There's just calm, like the decision had already been made, and she's easing me into the part where I accept it. I go for a walk at midnight, barefoot, through the cold grass of our backyard. I ask myself one question over and over again. She gave me her 20s. Do I owe her my 30s? I remember the ramen dates, the mildew apartment, the cake with the sad face. I remember her fingers digging into my back when I told her I finally got hired. I remember the way she said "we," like my success was never mine alone. But I also remember the text. Once I wire the first $10,000, it's real. She was planning to leave me like a CEO exiting a merger. I wasn't a person anymore. I was a phase. I print every photo, every note, every document. I lay them out across our dining table. I open her laptop and pull up the spreadsheet, the same one she thought I'd never find. I leave it open on the screen, unhidden, blinking softly in the lamplight. Then I sit at the far end of the house and wait. She comes home at 7:40 p.m., kicks off her heels, calls out, "Hey babe, what are we doing for dinner?" She doesn't see me yet. Then she turns the corner into the dining room. She freezes. The silence stretches for a full minute. Then she speaks, her voice low, almost clinical. "You went through my things." I look up, my hands still, and for the first time in months, I speak the truth out loud. "No, I went through our things until I realized you stopped seeing them that way." To be continued. When I got home early that Thursday, the house was too quiet. No music from the kitchen, no clatter of heels on tile. Just the hum of the fridge and the soft, arrhythmic tap of suitcase wheels being dragged across hardwood. Emily was in the hallway, halfway crouched by the linen closet, folding what looked like sweaters into a duffel bag. She didn't notice me at first. When she did, she froze, mid-motion, her eyes flicking up to mine like a deer spotting the glint of a rifle. I stepped into the light. My voice was calm. Going somewhere? She swallowed hard. Her hands didn't move. Her face did something strange, not guilt, not panic, something more resigned, like she'd rehearsed this moment and still didn't quite know how to land it. "I was going to talk to you tonight," she said quietly. "Before or after the flight?" Silence. I nodded slowly, then walked past her, not angrily, not quickly, just steady. I placed my keys on the dining table, the same table where I'd laid out every page, every photo, every receipt. I watched her step into the room and take it all in. She didn't cry. She didn't gasp. She just exhaled, long and slow, like someone letting go of a breath they'd been holding for years. "I'm not going to insult you," she said. "I know you know." "You're not even going to deny it?" "No." She looked down. "I'm tired of lying, especially to someone who doesn't deserve it." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because there was something so twisted in hearing her compliment me in the same breath she was destroying us. "Then say it," I said. "Say it out loud." She stared at me. I could see the war behind her eyes. Pride, shame, relief, defiance. "I've been seeing Julian," she said finally. "It started last fall. I didn't plan it, Michael. But once it started, You couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop." There it was, the needle to the vein. She continued slowly. "He offered me something I didn't even realize I'd been starving for. Attention, curiosity, a sense of future. You..." "Me?" I said, stepping forward. "Go ahead, say what I am." "You're a good man," she said. "But you're safe, stable, predictable. You come home, you talk about numbers and growth charts. You love me the way a lighthouse loves ships. Steady, unmoving, distant. I thought that's what you wanted. I thought so too." She sat down at the edge of the dining chair, next to a picture of her and Julian walking out of the Hyatt. "Julian makes me feel like I still have time, like I can become something again, not just someone's wife, not just part of your journey." I felt something inside me harden, not out of rage, but clarity. "You know what I see?" I said. "A woman who had everything. Loyalty, history, a partner who never strayed, and still thought the grass was greener where the checks are bigger." Her eyes welled, but she didn't let it fall. "Don't you dare reduce this to money? Then tell me he didn't promise you $10,000 a month." That silenced her. "You think I didn't see the spreadsheet?" I continued. "The relocation plan, the deposits already lined up. This isn't love, Emily. This is a contract." She stood. "He believes in me." "No," I said coldly. "He owns you, and you're letting him." Her jaw tightened. "You think I'm some gold digger?" "I think," I said, stepping close enough to smell that same perfume from the hallway, "weeks ago, that you sold your soul for a bigger apartment and a curated Instagram life. And I wasn't invited." She blinked. I lowered my voice. "So this is it," I said. "The price of your soul. $10,000 a month." The words landed like glass against granite. She looked away. "I didn't mean to hurt you. You just didn't care if it happened along the way." We stood in silence. For the first time in years, we were truly eye to eye. No filters, no comfort, just the raw, unvarnished wreckage of who we'd become. Finally, I turned away. "I won't stop you," I said. "I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to chase." She opened her mouth, maybe to say goodbye, maybe to explain, but no words came, and I didn't wait. I walked upstairs, closed the bedroom door, and packed only what I needed. By morning, she was gone. The divorce took 6 months. 6 long, silent, cold-blooded months, filled with paperwork, court dates, lawyers who smiled like wolves, and a million versions of the same question. What do you want? At first, I didn't know how to answer. What did I want? Justice, revenge, peace. None of those felt real. Emily filed first. Her petition claimed emotional distance, irreconcilable priorities, and with almost poetic arrogance, mutual drifting. She requested 50% of the assets, spousal support, and consideration of lifestyle expectations based on shared success. Translation: she wanted to leave me and still live like she never did. My lawyer, Hannah Stein, was sharp, strategic, and carried herself like a woman who'd heard every excuse in every court in the state. When she reviewed the evidence, the withdrawals, the affair, the secret apartment lease, the prearranged financial support from Julian, she whistled. "She's bold," Hannah said, flipping through the folder, "but she's also sloppy." I let her do what she was best at. We filed a counter petition: breach of financial trust, misappropriation of joint funds, and voluntary abandonment. We had bank statements, surveillance photos, signed gallery contracts, and even an email where Emily had forwarded Julian a scan of our mortgage documents. It wasn't just betrayal, it was theft. Emily looked worn when we met in mediation, her skin pale, her hair pulled back too tight. Julian didn't come with her. She was alone. She didn't speak to me once, just stared at the table like she was trying to memorize its wood grain. Her lawyer argued for emotional contribution. She supported him through lean years, he said. She built the foundation of his current success. Hannah didn't blink, and then she dismantled it, intentionally, with another man's money. We walked out of that room with 80% of the assets retained, no spousal support granted, and a court order requiring her to return $18,000 in unauthorized withdrawals. She negotiated that down to $12,000 over 24 months. I didn't fight it. Let her owe something, even if it was just numbers on a spreadsheet. I moved out before the papers were finalized. Found a quiet place in Vermont, a renovated farmhouse that overlooked a ridge of winter trees and silent hills. The kind of cold that cuts your breath short and forces you to feel present. I needed that. The first few weeks were brutal. I kept thinking in past tense. She used to like breakfast this way. She always lit a candle when it rained. She never liked pine. Ghosts don't rattle chains. They linger in muscle memory. I started therapy. My sessions with Dr. Claire Mendez were slow, patient, and, to my surprise, mostly silent. She had a way of making silence feel safe, not empty. One day she asked, "When did you first stop being honest with her?" I laughed, bitterly. I wasn't the one lying. That's not what I asked. It hit me. Somewhere years back, I had stopped sharing my fears, my exhaustion, my boredom. I thought protecting her meant hiding those parts of me. Maybe she sensed that, maybe not. But silence, like rust, eats slowly. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a text. "Emily, can we talk? Just once?" I didn't reply. A week later, it wasn't what I thought it would be. Still nothing. Then came the voicemail. "Hey, I don't even know if this number still works. I'm sorry." He left, said the gallery wasn't viable long term. The transfers stopped, and then he just stopped calling. I guess I misread everything. You don't have to forgive me. I just wanted to say I miss you. That's all. I blocked her number, not out of hatred, out of mercy, for both of us. I've lived in Vermont for a year now. The seasons are honest here. They don't pretend to be something they're not. Winter is cold, spring is wet, summer is short, fall is brief but beautiful. I take long walks. I read books I never made time for. I write letters I never send. I still wear my wedding ring some nights, not out of longing, but as a reminder that love, even when it ends, leaves fingerprints you never quite scrub away. I no longer ask what I did wrong. That's not the right question. The right one is, What do I do now that I know better? I don't date yet. I don't seek noise to fill the quiet. I let it stretch. Because in the silence, I'm finally starting to hear something new. My own voice, clear, whole, and mine again. The snow came early that year. By mid-November, the porch railing was dusted white. The trees glazed in frost like glass skeletons. I sat by the fireplace, a mug of dark coffee in my hand, a wool blanket over my lap, and the silence thick as snowfall outside. I reached into the old wooden box I kept on the corner shelf, the one I'd moved with me but hadn't dared to open until now. Inside, there was nothing of monetary value, just memory, a faded Polaroid of us at the beach, a stub from our first concert together, a pressed flower from her wedding bouquet, and one letter. The letter. She wrote it the night before our wedding, left it on my pillow with a note. For tomorrow, don't open until you wake up. I had read it, of course, that morning, when the world still made sense, when we were still whole. Now I unfolded the creased paper once more. Michael, I don't know what kind of wife I'll be. I know I won't be perfect. I talk in my sleep. I forget to do laundry. I leave cabinets open, but I promise you this. I will believe in you every day, even when you don't. I'll carry your fears when you're too tired to hold them. I'll sit in the dark with you and remind you that it won't last forever. And when we're old, if you forget all of this, I'll remember for the both of us. See you at the altar. Love, Emily. I read it once, then again, and again. Each time, it hurt a little less. Not because I forgave her, but because I finally understood. She meant it when she wrote it. Maybe she did love me, once, but that wasn't enough. Love is not a promise carved in marble. It's a garden. If you stop tending it, stop watering it, feeding it, noticing the weeds, it doesn't just die. It changes shape. It becomes something else. Resentment, distance, regret, or worse, transaction. I folded the letter and slid it back into the box, not to bury it, just to acknowledge that it existed. I stood, walked to the window, and pressed my hand against the cold glass. Outside, a fox moved through the snow. Quiet, confident, alone. Not lost, just going somewhere I couldn't see. There was no dramatic music, no grand lesson etched into the clouds, just the sound of wind through bare trees. I thought about what she took. I thought about what I let her take. And then I thought about what she couldn't touch, not even if she tried. My decency, my stillness, my capacity to endure without becoming bitter. I would not be the man who grew thorns. I would not be the man who told the next woman, be better than her. I would not be defined by betrayal. I would be rebuilt by it. I closed my eyes, exhaled slowly, and let the quiet settle into my bones. For the first time in years, I wasn't carrying her anymore. Not her expectations, not her disappointment, not her echo, just me, breathing, standing, still here, still whole, and finally, free, loyalty without. Value is foolish. Value without loyalty is hollow. I want neither. I want peace.